Greetings, everyone. I'm going to tell you how the day went. So, I remember waking up at around 10 in the morning. I was kind of bummed about doing that because my original idea was to go to the blood plasma donation center in the morning at around 7 as soon as the place opens to donate some plasma and get compensated for it. While, of course, also, helping save lives as well. But, yeah, it's been financially rough for the past few days. Um, but the thing was, I stayed up too late and I woke up too late as a result of that. So that's why I wasn't able to do it. Shame. Well, anyways, when I got up, I greeted my mom and my sister, who were up, and I remember my sister was making like beans in a compressor, like those little food, I forget what it's called. It's like a boiler like machine thing. I don't know why it's escaping my memory right now. It's a thing you put beans in and it makes them cook much quicker. For some reason, I'm blanking out on it. But she was doing that. And my mom decided to go shopping for a new oven because the oven that we currently have, which we've had ever since I was a kid, is not heating up quickly enough to get to the desired temperatures we want so we can make the dishes that we want. Example, yesterday, the pizza that was made, although it was very good, the recipe recommended that the pizza be put into a 475-degree oven. However, the oven was stuck at 435 degrees, and it didn't matter if I pressed myself up against the oven door and just waited and waited and waited. It was stuck at that temperature. I even did it for like a full hour, hoping eventually it would go up, and it never did. Such a huge shame. So, yeah, my mom saw my struggle and wanted to do a little, oven shopping. I decided to join in, and I asked ChatGPT's shopping feature, a shopping research feature, to see if there was an oven that fit within what we were looking for, which was a convection/gas oven that could fulfill our goals and also be small and compact, because the oven that we currently have is also compact as well. The ChatGPT research agent eventually did find an oven that fit the criteria for $890. And it looked pretty interesting. Apparently, the thing, though, that made it a little iffy was that there wasn't really enough reviews of people who had used it in a long-form way. So it made it kind of hard to really gauge if it should be something trustworthy or not. So, yeah, that's kind of a shame. After that, I decided to grab some of the last of the Entenmann donuts. There was like 3 donuts that didn't have any cinnamon or sugar powder on them. They were just plain. And I brewed a cup of coffee, and I went in my room and I watched the latest Digital Foundry Direct. This one, well, I had listened to it the previous day when I was working on the pizza, but I continued watching it today. It's very disappointing news. The closure of Blue Point Games, very sad. The Xbox CEO and co-president both leaving on the same day, which is extremely eerie and also concerning. And just the RAM shortage causing a perpetual pause on potential new hardware like the Steam machine, the PlayStation 6, and that new Xbox. So overall, it's just a really sucky time to be a gamer, and it's all because of this whole AI data farm thing, where these companies need as much RAM as possible, and so they're just buying up all of the world's RAM. It's crazy. The episode then ended on Alex Battaglia talking about like how he had a really bad sciatica, or his back has like a bulging disc that makes him in a state of pain if he sits down, but he's okay when he stands up. And he was like talking about how using a standing desk. It was a lot. It was quite an involved episode. I remember seeing the look in his eyes when he was like thinking about his current scenario and how he looks like he was at the brink of bursting into tears. It was pretty sad. Moving on from that video, I remember I decided to watch another YouTube video made by the YouTube channel The Real Life Fake Wizard, where it is a guy who puts on like a wizard beard and cap, and he basically just talks about like what's going on in the current state of the entertainment and video game industries. And this subject was about the whole Xbox CEO and co-president both leaving on the same day, and essentially how he thought like this was all just so sudden and seemed like it was kind of a rug pull, and like Microsoft seems like they're losing faith in their gaming division because they tried everything they could to make it work, and ultimately everything they tried just ended up failing. And so now they're making these profit-focused, growth-focused decisions that are seemingly putting the future of the Xbox into jeopardy and put into question. So it's a really interesting time, really sad time. Yeah. But moving along, after watching that, I remember I was talking with my sister. I forget what we were talking about, but I was eating like this cereal that we got from the store. This was like an organic bran flake cereal that had zero sugar and was instead sweetened with a special type of like powder. I forget what it was called. Like it was like a fruit powder or something. Fig powder, I think. Yeah, figs. And it had dried up blueberries and strawberries in it. Overall, I'd say it was quite tasty. I really did enjoy it, and I definitely will be looking forward to eating more. I then finally decided to take initiative and put an hour of work into my brain jam. Now, the thing was, yesterday, I didn't do anything, so that was a half hour I had add on. The previous day, I did 20 minutes. So yeah, that means that was like 10. So 30 minutes and then another 30 minutes and then 10 minutes because I did 20 minutes 2 days ago. And then 30 minutes today, and that's a full 100 and like 101 minutes, I think, like, so, because it was like 11 minutes, and then I decided to do an hour, so now we're back down to 41 minutes, and now tomorrow we're gonna have to add another hour, a half hour on top of that, so now it's gonna be 71 minutes. So I think I'll just knock it out and just do another 71 minutes tomorrow. I think that would be a good idea. And then moving along from that, I remember that I just continued working on the Brain Jam Extra video. This one I was basically just drawing characters at different angles, looking down at their pages after being given an assignment by their teacher, and then having to draw the notes on their pages, basically asking about retaining how much memory they retain from the presentation. So yeah, and then I exported the frames, I inserted them into the video, and I timed them correctly. So that's pretty much what was done. The longest part, the part that took the most time, was the drawing part. So yeah. Then I eventually decided to get dressed and leave for work. So I said goodbye to my mom and sister. I told them that I loved them, and then I drove off to work. Um, as I was driving to work, I had my headphones on. I was listening to a song called "The Decemberists," the Great Cataclysm song, which I've kind of been obsessed by because this song was written after the lead singer finished reading the book Infinite Jest, and I was like interested in that book because I was like, ooh, this is kind of complex and hard to really nail down. How do I like get a deep dive into this, And hearing someone who went through it and then took everything they got from it and put it into like a song was quite interesting to hear. Yeah. And then when I got to work, it was interesting. The first hour was pretty much just bagging. Nothing to complain about there. Second hour, I remember was doing sweeps for like 2 hours. And then the fourth hour was spent doing a lot. And that went well too. So nothing really to complain about, nothing too crazy happens around that time. So instead I just I did go on my break. I was getting a call that I couldn't answer earlier in my shift, so on my second break I did the call, and it turns out it was for a dentist appointment and confirming the dentist appointment. Gonna take my wisdom tooth out that apparently is threatening to push against my other tooth. So I guess that's good to confirm. And then eventually, sorry. I got my water canteen refilled on my break, and yeah, I finished the call, and I was watching a video about like a guy talking about like how the education system is failing because Gen Alpha is having a difficult time with their reading comprehension skills because they were addicted to screens in their earlier childhood. Pretty scary stuff. But then I got off that and went back to work, where the next, where yeah, that was in between the hour of bagging, then the hour of sweeps, and then the break, and then the second hour of sweeps, and then lunch. For lunch, when I punched out, I had a fried chicken breast with 2 fried chicken wings. I got some Chick-fil-A sauce. I got some mac and cheese. And I got a Coke Zero. And I took it up into the break room. And I was watching a Eyes on Cinema video where a group of UFO researchers, professional researchers, discussed the phenomenon, which was quite interesting. And then I punched back in, and my next 4 hours was basically just sweeps. Originally, it was the last 3 hours, but one of my coworkers wanted to hand off the rest of their sweeps to me, so I was like, okay. So I got their vest and finished the rest of the sweeps for the shift. Yeah. For closing duties, there was I did trash. I did refilling bags into check stands. I wiped down check stands 8, 7, 6, and 5, and 4. My coworker did 1, 2, and 3. I brought the carts and signs in, and I brought some cleaner paper towels in. So, yeah, went pretty well. I remember before punching out and wiping down the check stand at work, one of my co-bosses and me were talking about like the show Pluribus that I recently watched, and I was like talking about what the show was about and how it's like I thought it was really interesting and how I'd recommend it. And they seemed pretty intrigued by that. So, yeah, pretty cool. And then they told me about like Family Guy and how there was like an edgy joke done about like Feifel from the American An American Tale, how like he's being hunted down. Um, it's a pretty it was a pretty silly joke. Pretty funny too. And yeah, then I got a little conversation where after I punched out work and was grabbing my things before going, one of my uh one of the beat cutters and I had a little conversation around the break room where we were talking about like old shows and stuff we grew up with watching, and he recommended an old show. I forget what it was called, but it I wrote it down on my phone. So yeah, that was pretty cool. We like went over Jimmy Neutron, Hugh Neutron, and yeah, just how our entertainment was pretty interesting back then, for sure. Um, oh yeah, and I showed one of my co-managers like a pizza that I made yesterday, and my sister biting into it. And yeah, then the co-manager told my other co-manager, and they both like said, "Hey, it'd be pretty cool if you brought that pizza." I was like, "Yeah, one of these days I'll bring the pizza." I mean, why not? Like maybe for one of the celebratory days, like, or maybe sooner, just for the heck of it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Well, eventually, I got a little Arnold Palmy. I put it in the freezer for a little bit before taking out, punching out, and then leaving. I put that in the freezer like a good hour before leaving work, so it was ready to go. Then I went in the car. Um, well, I said goodbye to my co-boss. I went in my car. I drove off home, and eventually, when I arrived home, I took my vitamins, I brushed my teeth, I did 40 minutes of line work, and this is what I drew. So this is my catch-up. It's actually supposed to be the inside of the den in the house I live in, at a certain angle, but I actually got things kind of warped up. So yeah. So catching up on that, it was building up to an hour, but I did 40 minutes, so now it's down to 20 minutes. So that means tomorrow, add 20 minutes on top of that. So that means I gotta do 40 minutes to fully catch up with that, as well as the 71 minutes to catch up with Brain Jam Extra. So better do that tomorrow, sometime early in the morning. I showed my sister. She thought it was pretty cool. And then, she told me she thought it was pretty cool. And then after that, I decided to record my update video. And yeah, I'm going to publish this and I'm going to go to bed. So overall, I thought today was pretty good. Nothing to really complain about. Just a little bit, another brick in the wall of learning and growing and developing. And never stopping to have some fun. Because there was a fun situation where one of my coworkers and I were like in the bathroom, like talking to like Dory from Finding Nemo when she was communicating at like a whale. So yeah, that was pretty fun. And also, I forgot to mention before leaving for work, my mom made a salad that she served me and my sister, and we had that salad while watching the news about the mafia, and also something else I'm forgetting. And yeah, oh yeah, Iran. Yeah, both those things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go to bed now. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, and take care.